I and look, this might sound bad to some of you. This might sound real bad to some of you. But a while back I put out some of those those sticky traps. You see, I am not a what do they call it? A Buddhist, where they don't harm any insects or anything like that. Wouldn't kill a fly. There's a couple creatures that it's on site for me, bro. It's 100% on site to the fullest. If I see like basically any kind of spider that's not a daddy long legs, like the daddy long legs, he's like unk status. He's like an endearing type of creature that I could wrap my beanie around that. Like, it's just like a classic right there. He's grandfathered in. He's grandfathered in before the time that there was animosity between man and animal. The fear, the dread doesn't fall upon us for each other. As far as I'm confirmed. But if it's any, I don't care, bro. I don't care if it's like playing a violin and trying to serenade me. If there's any other kind of spider besides a daddy longlegs, he's extinct. If I see a pincher, what are they? Some people, I think the white dudes call them earwigs. If I see, bro, mouses, nah, chale. They ain't. Some people try to equate them to like, it's a cute little hamster. By the way, who says hamsters are cute, bro? Little rodents, like, ooh, I'm getting the chills right now thinking about it. There's certain types of things where, as far as I'm confirmed, they're just like a demon straight out of hell, bro. And I don't mean to use that lightly, but like I literally, like I've said that like over the years, like a little lizard, like a little disgusting, slimy, scaly lizard. Like I look at them like little demons. Like they seem evil to me. Like these soulless little ugly black-eyed, like they're freaky, man. The same way I look at cats. There's other things that I would never harm. I'd never cross a ladybug, a little roly-poly, a dog, little monkey, butterfly. There's certain things that they're a protected status. And I had some of these sticky traps because we came to a new place, You guys, most of you know, if you follow closely enough, we came to a new place in like late September, basically October. And we're just kind of trying to reset. And I had seen a mouse run around the outside of the house, and it freaked me out, bro. Like that kind of stuff. Like I'd rather see like a wolf or something, bro, than those things. They make me go crazy. And I put some traps out. Came a trap house, if you will. I put them all over the place. And not long after. And look, again, this is gonna bother some of you. It's probably gonna bother some of you. There was a lizard. There was a little, pretty small. I mean, it was probably, if I had to guess from snout to tail, I would guess it was like, I don't know, 4.5 inches long, snout to tail. It's a small, little, puny little thing. And one day I went into the garage and I saw this lizard on the mousetrap. And to me, it might as well have been like a black widow on there. It might as well have been some evil creature from outer space that was trying to take my life. I saw it. I was like, this serves you right, bro. You don't belong at my pad. I don't want you here. I don't care if I asked the pest lady if she could kill you, and she said, actually, we can't. We don't handle those. And they're actually your friend because they kill the insects. I don't care. Let's kill all of them. I'll get another pest person that specifically focuses on the lizards. They'll kill the lizards. You kill the insects. Everybody's happy, right? Everybody's dead. Everybody's happy. There was a lizard on there. And I was like, It ain't a mouse. By the way, got the mouse. Pretty sure. But unfortunately, where there's smoke, there's fire. So gotta stay vigilant. But there was a lizard on there, and there was no part of me that felt bad for that lizard. I get very territorial. I get very defensive with creatures like that. I think they're disgusting. I think they have no place in my radius, in my living space. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I'm not sorry. I don't know why I said that. And I remember again. Some of you there may be some Buddhist individuals in here, and I remember even at my old house, every once in a while I'd be working on the yard. I remember when we barely got into that house. People just don't take care of their yards, bro. I remember when I first got into that house, it was just full, just overgrown stuff. Overgrown lawn and plants and shrubbery, and that stuff likes to hide in there. And I remember, man, I uncovered like 10 to 15 or 20 or something like that lizards, a whole community of lizards. And I was just back there with a shovel, just cha, cha, cha. I remember one time I was like fed up, bro. And I remember I was making noises like if I was a female tennis player. And I was like, and I remember my neighbor looked at me from over the fence, and he gave me the side eye. He gave me like that golden retriever side eye. And he probably thought I was killing a human being, man, the way I was getting into it, because the way that I was emoting was not typical of someone that's simply taking the life of a lizard. It was like if there was some kind of, it was like if me and the lizard had some sort of falling out. Like if there was some sort of betrayal and it was like a crime of passion or something like that. That's the way it must have sounded. And, I was into it. I was pivoting my back foot. Like I was torquing, I was throwing my hip into it. Like I was trying to make that lizard feel it. And I had heard too many times over the years that you cut something off a lizard, it grows right back. I was trying to make sure this wasn't I felt like this dude was just going to come back together like that bad dude from the Terminator, and I was just I was burying different parts of his bodies all over the yard, like just trying to make it impossible, put some of it on. I put the tail under some concrete. I wrapped up the head in some, like, a few layers of foil. And so I saw this lizard on there, and I was like, ain't no thing. Hopefully there's a mouse on there too soon. And I remember Jesse Jr., he's like, what is that? And I was like, because he kind of saw it from far away. I told him, oh, it's a lizard. And he says something like, oh, you should let it go. And I was like, excuse me? Have I not done my part as a father? Have I not helped cultivate a healthy amount of hatred towards certain creatures in you? Have I not done my part? Have I not fulfilled my role? It's like when you see those things online of the little white kid and the little black kid holding hands, and it has some kind of caption, hatred is taught, it's learned, it's not. And I was like, have I not taught him enough hatred? At least toward the lizard family. And when he said that, it kind of stuck in my beanie a little bit. I was like, dang, is he going to think I'm some kind of villain or like, And then I forgot about it because I was like, yeah, it's evil. He doesn't know any better. And I'm telling you, and again, this is another thing I'm not very proud to share because it seems kind of nasty. But at the same time, it's a mouse trap. It's a glue trap, bro. It is nasty. So me being a heartless individual toward lizards, I just left it there, bro. I mean, what else am I gonna do? What is it less heartless to chuck it in the trash? It's still gonna be stuck there, still suffocating or whatever, right? So I just left it on the trap. And I thought, I'm gonna wait till that trap does its job. I'm gonna wait till there's a mouse on it. And I just left it there. And I thought, because I've seen this happen before, where a lizard is in a situation like that and it's like, cool, bro. And it just dips. It sheds its skin and it's gone. I've seen that happen before on another trap. I ate the first trap house I've lived in. And, bro, that lizard was on that trap since some point, I don't know if it was the first day, I don't know if it was the last day, but it was some point in October. Okay? Last night, I've been telling you guys my garage has been a storage unit. I've been just foaming at the mouth to use it. I want to get in there. I want to get active. I want to get yoked. And I don't know what it was. Oh, I was cleaning up one of my toolboxes, and the trap was very close to it. And something made me want to something made me curious. And I decided to pick it up and see, is the lizard still with us? And it was looking right at me. Yesterday was December 22nd. 22nd. The lizard was on there since October. And chances are, just the way things go, chances are it probably wasn't October 31st. It's probably somewhere early on in October, at least in the mid-range. Probably wasn't the last day of October. It's been on there from October to December 22nd. I saw it blinking at me. That lizard has been stuck on there with no food, no drink, no love, no companionship, no TV, no Wi-Fi, no nothing since October. I felt bad. I felt real bad. I tried to imagine myself going that long without playing Fallout on my Xbox, without having some Chinese food, and by the way, I have gone that long and longer without playing Fallout on my Xbox, and I know how dark and depressing it is, and it spiraled me. Without having Chinese food, without having some hot Cheetos, without having the companionship of the We Are family, because I got all my homies with me. He didn't have no homies with him. Matter of fact, I dealt with some of his homies earlier on in my front yard with the shovel in October and November. So he's probably right there. He probably heard the news. He probably heard people shouting around in their own speak. He probably knew his family was gone. He's just sitting there suffering at the bottom of the cave like Batman. Just helpless. Still alive all this time. Dude was like in a totally conscious coma. He was like in one of those dreams that they talk about where you're like he was like in a sleep paralysis type of thing where he was like, I don't understand the name, because if you're asleep, you're asleep, but they describe it like if you're awake and you can see everything and you're like in this nightmare of a dream, but you can't move anything, like you're paralyzed. I felt crazy bad. And I got a flathead screwdriver. And I was like, you know what? And I kept hearing Jesse Jr.'s voice in my beanie. Maybe you should let him go. Maybe you should let him go. I got a flathead screwdriver and I started trying to pry him off. And it was very promising. I started working the tail. I wanted to start on like the least lethal thing. I started working the tail and it started coming off. And I was like, oh, snap. This is going to be easier than I thought. I started prying it off. And then at one point, it got a little tricky. And I accidentally chopped his tail off. And I almost felt bad. But then I was like, hey, for a lizard, that's like giving them some bangs. It's going to grow back. I've heard this countless times. Grows back. I heard even the limbs grow back. So a tail, that's nothing, bro. So then I thought, you know what? I'm going to need some. I looked it up. What could I do? How could I get it off this glue trap? And then it starts talking about oil. So I went inside. I got some avocado oil. I start putting it all around. I got a little bit nervous because I thought, what if I'm going to suffocate him? Because he's a reptile. He's all gilled up. That's how he breathes. So I was trying to be cautious about it. But at the same time, I was like, this is our only choice. It's this or nothing. It's this or you just live out the rest of you live out your golden years on this thing. And that's a wrap. So I just started dousing it with the oil and just working it, torquing the flathead and trying to make space, work it all over, work it over here, work it over there so it's an even lift. Long story short, I got down on my hands. I was just laying there I was like Jake Paul, just sprawled out on the canvas. I was just laying there on all fours, just hoping somebody wouldn't walk in. Just like, what the heck? All fours just caressing this lizard with a tool. And I was playing Taxi. I was playing Taxi on Pluto in the background. It's a whole memory, man. It will stay with me forever. I was on all fours in there trying to pry off that lizard, just working it all the way around. I was getting frustrated with the lizard. I was like, bro, work with me, bro. I don't know if it was a defense mechanism. He was trying to play dead, but he was just, there was a part earlier on when I was working the tail. He started moving his tail and flopping it around. I was like, heck yeah, he knows I'm trying to help him. He's trying to meet me halfway. But then I chopped his tail off, and he's probably like, oh, this dude's a sadist. He's trying to take me out limb by limb. So then he was starting to play dead. I was like, dang, I was telling him, bro, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to let you go. I don't know if he understood my language. I have this theory that animals don't speak, but they could at least understand us. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I have that theory. I was telling him, bro, I'm trying to help you. And he just wouldn't give me nothing. So I just kept patient, putting more oil, working all the way around, working the front, working the back, just trying to make it an even lift. And I got real excited when I got all four of the limbs and the little skinny, delicate fingers out. Because I was, those would be easy to separate. I got all the limbs up, started working the belly, started working his dome. And I lifted him up. And put him on the concrete. And then he kind of did a little. And then I don't know if he was like, like when an astronaut, they're pretending, but you at least know what I'm referring to. Like when they come back and they're like, whoa, I don't know how to walk. I've been in the green room this whole time. But he was doing that kind of like, he kind of shuffled and he was like, oh, he got kind of woozy or whatever. And I was like, all right, I think I'm going to have to help him. So then I kind of scooped him back up on a part of the trap that was safe. And I talked to him, I gave him a little speech, and I let him know that I respected him and that he had a warrior spirit. And this part more than any, I was hoping that Marilena didn't walk in, because that would have been hard to recover from. But I let him know that he had my utmost respect, that I hate lizards, that I would normally never do something like this, but that this was a special circumstance and that he deserved to live out the rest of his days as a free lizard. I wanted him to hear that from me, and that I apologized for the rough time that he spent there, being a little prisoner of war. And I took him out, I opened the garage door, and I scooped him right there onto the concrete. And I got a little bit frustrated because it seemed like he kept trying to come back toward the garage. And I was like, no, homie, you got to go free. You got to go free, bro. You can't stay here. It ain't healthy for you. You got to spread your wings. And I kept trying to turn him around. And I think we had kind of like trauma bonded. And there was this thing, like he thought it was like a rebirth for him. And he thought I was like his mama bird. And I was like, no, you got to go fly. I kept turning him around, and I picked him up again. I put him a little further out on the grass. And I was trying to make him get comfortable in his natural habitat, just hoping he wouldn't stick to the grass. I think I lubed him up enough that he wasn't so sticky anymore. And I put him in a nice, lush spot in the grass. And I was down there, and I was talking to him, and I was trying to let him know what I was doing. And I was poking around, trying to lift him up here and there with the screwdriver and put him in the best spot. And again, just like at my other house, I heard the neighbor either open or close his car door, just right there. And I was like, same thing all over again. Now I have a new neighbor in a new living situation that sees me out there conversating with reptiles at midnight. Perfect. With a very long screwdriver. Because that was the only one I could find at the moment. Job probably would have been a lot easier if I had a different screwdriver. But then when I saw he was okay, he was doing his thing, he was out there, I closed the door and I hoped for the best. Today I went out there and I looked in the same spot. He was gone. For all I know, he's probably hiding in a new location in my garage. I don't know. He was waiting till I left. I don't know. Probably in there hoping I turned back on the TV so he could listen to Taxi. But as of right now, he's no longer in that spot. I could only hope and assume that he found a good area to live in, to feel safe and comfortable in. And the reason I tell you this story is because in a similar way, that's how I feel about Dustin Gaethje. I never liked that fool. I never ever rooted for that fool. Nothing in common. I just had that. As far as I was confirmed, no redeeming qualities. I just didn't like the dude. I didn't like the way he fought. I didn't like the way he talked on the mic. I just couldn't find anything that I could get on board with. I just felt like he was the perpetual bridesmaid. I just kind of had the complimentary attitude for it. Almost kind of bragged about the fact that he was going to get knocked out at some point. It just wasn't a dude that I found myself being able to root for. But you know what? Maybe a lesser of two evils kind of situation, putting him against Paddy Pimblett. I've been doing my research. I'm working on my prediction video. I'm doing my due diligence. Chancla's on the ground. MMA long division. I've been watching all his videos. I've been watching those leg kicks. I've been watching that takedown defense. I do have a newfound respect for Dustin Gaethje. He will always have his place in my beanie as a bridesmaid. He's never going to be, a contender with Khabib Nurmagomedov. But I do respect what he's done. I have no respect for Paddy Pimblett. I think he's a fraud. I think he's a phony. I think he won fights that he lost. I think he lost fights that he won. However you want to look at it. The glass is half empty. But Dustin Gaethje, I feel like I had him on that proverbial glue trap in my mind for the longest. And at least when it comes to him versus Paddy Pimblett, again, after watching all his fights and paying close attention and note-taking, not just watching casually as I'm doing something else in the background, studiously watching his videos over the last couple weeks, I have a newfound respect for that fool. And I do believe he's going to defeat Paddy Pimblett. And I do believe that at least in my own personal life and situation, it's time to let that fool off the glue trap.